Hello, Reds from around the world. Thank you so much for joining us here on this magnificent Sunday evening. How do I know it's magnificent? Because we're surrounded by the most beautiful Manchester United fans you will ever see in the world. We've got someone who looks like he's topless, that's James, and we got Noah with his new mustache. Like, what more can you want? And I think Chuki's going to give us a bit of a workout later on because he has the set behind us. It's behind him, and every single time he comes on this show, and we've yet to see him do anything. So all this is going to come up tonight. Be in the group chat, guys. If you want to see Juki show us how to do a couple of reps, he will do it, but we have to get 50 likes before that happens.
Exactly.
Across the board, how are we all doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
Good.
I'm doing good.
I love the.
Hey, Joe, I'm not that
enthusiasm.
cheap. I'm very insulted by the 50.
If you're very insulted, then I'm doing my job right. So, guys, and in the comments, please get your stuff in. Please get your comments in. We're going to be discussing the Villa game that happened on Friday. The wonderful 2-1 victory that it was. There's something. A load of you in the chat now. Sorry, that are watching now. Wherever you're watching, come on over to YouTube. Give us a look on YouTube and like and subscribe to the channel. All that sort of stuff. See, Ben, I'm doing my job. So we're going to be focused on the Villa game. We're going to be focused on Pogba, focused on Eric Bailly, focus on what we have to do to, win 21 and 21. So to get going, we're going to have our we've all seen the game, the Villa game, hopefully anyway, that you're in the comments, and we're going to be discussing that and touching on the other results and what they mean for us as well. So we're going to start with my buddy, my fellow Irishman. I think he's my only fellow Irishman. We're all Irishmen tonight. Keane, we'll go to you first. What are your thoughts on your final thoughts on the Villa game?
I'm very happy with the result. It was a fantastic 3 points from Manchester United on Friday night. I thought it was one of them times where in the previous years, in the last 7 years, we've always had chances to capitalise on our rivals' results, dropping points, and to see us actually do that and put a stamp on and be joint top the league now is really good. The performances, especially of Eric Bailly and Paul Pogba, I thought were absolutely fantastic. Eric Bailly, just a massive shout out to him. He was immense at centre back. And again, just to see us capitalise on our rivals' results and actually go out there and put on a good performance. And it was actually a very good game of football. I thought Aston Villa were very good as also, do you know what I mean? And it was a good kind of advert for the Premier League, kind of the quality of football we've seen from both teams in that game. To go out and get the 3 points, and now we put the pressure on Liverpool, and in fact we're coming into the new year with 3 points, though there's a lot of positives to take. And we move on now to the Manchester Derby now during the week.
Oh, yes. That is coming. I don't know. Oh, sorry, Keane. I thought you froze there for a second. You just looked very shocked for about 20 seconds there. Natalie, we go on to you now. What are your thoughts on our 2-1 victory?
Yeah, obviously, delighted to see us, go ahead. You thought potentially we were going to see it out, just see it all the way through. But obviously, Villa are a good side. Other teams have dropped points against them. Other teams have lost against them. So for me, even though we're at home, to get that win, we're now on like a really good unbeaten run. And I think just that mentality shift, like was just said, we've gone from always dropping points or, potentially not taking advantage to now we're consistently, picking up them 3 points, whether it's late in games or, penalties. Bruno, it's all good to see, and I'm happy now that people are getting upset that we're getting penalties, but it's just like, what can you do? You play in the game, you're taken down, and I know there's a little talk, but you're taken down, VAR's involved, and it's a penalty. That's what we've got it there for. That's what we've, but everyone seems to get upset when it's Man United. So it's just good to see. We keep doing our business, forget about the rest, and we'll get there where we should be.
Yeah. Loved, adored, and never ignored. That we are getting good again when everyone hates us. And we absolutely love it. Chuki, up to you, my man. Sorry, let me find you here on the thing. Give us your thoughts on the Villa game.
It was a fantastic 3 points, and a lot of people are saying, that's the stuff of championship form when you are you're beating a team as solid and as organized as Villa and as relentless as Villa, because they really came at us. Villa gave us a good game. It was a really, really good advertisement for the EPL. And you even get your heart gets a little bit more giddy when you start thinking about all the chances missed. So we know Ollie was right. He wasn't really happy the way the team closed out the game, and probably not happy that we didn't put in more goals per chances that were created. When you look at the chance to create it, you start getting very, very excited about the potential, the real ceiling this team can actually reach.
Yeah, absolutely. Noah and the Whale. I'm not talking about you, James. What are your thoughts on the 2-1 victory?
Well, one thing I want to get out first is that Manchester United are back. We are back where we belong, at the top of the joint top of the table. And not only are Manchester United back, but so many other players are back playing to their best. As we were going to mention in the rest of the show, Paul Pogba in a more attacking position was absolutely superb. I think that was probably one of his best performances alongside the Man City comeback from a couple of seasons ago with Jose Mourinho. He looked back to his best and looked like someone who was potentially playing for a move. We might get onto that later. I thought Eric Bailly, someone who has really struggled to keep fit for us. I think if the Aston Villa game was his fourth game in a row, and it's been the first time in, say, 3 years, which really shows the injury problems that he's had. But, that block, I think, just before the game was about to end, just showed the kind of defender that he is, and showed probably why, when he is fit, he is Manchester United's best central defender at the club. And also great performances as well from Anthony Martial. He was a great natural striker's instinct for the goal and the header. Fantastic cross from Wan-Bissaka as well. And David De Gea made some excellent saves as well. And, it was just a great team performance in general, really. And I think, if Manchester United are going to make the challenge and make the charge for the Premier League title, you're going to need to get consistent performances from every single player on the pitch, and that's what we got when we played Villa a couple of days ago. So yeah, great performance.
Yeah, absolutely dead right. And as Reese is saying in the comments here, Southampton to win tomorrow and United to stay ahead on wins. Then we take Burnley apart and get top of the league. It's as simple as that. It's just going to happen. I don't think people notice, but Reese is our mystic in the All for United contributors. So he gets these facts right every single time. Except when he told me that Rangers would beat Celtic. That would just devastate me. But that won't happen again. 19 points is nothing, Reese. Okay, so get over it. James, the grandson of Buddy Holly and Barry somehow. Give us your thoughts.
I still have no idea who that bloke is, but the thing I noticed most about the game, obviously everyone else has really covered how we played, and I can't really build on anything they've said because it's all been brilliant. So the thing I noticed most was the shift in mentality, because there was multiple games last year. The exact same fixture last season, we threw the game away, didn't we? We conceded late to Tyrone Mings and we drew 2-2. And this season, we had the belief and the spirit within the squad, not only as well as the ability to cling on to the 3 points. And I think there's multiple games last season where we would have thrown that game away. The last-ditch defending from Bailly to save us, the quality communication along the back line to keep out what is a very, very good Villa attack. They're one of the highest scorers in the league for a reason. It's a brilliant front line. So I think in that sense, that's probably the most positive thing to see, because you can't win a league or win any sort of trophy with people who don't have the right mentality. So the fact that we fixed that, especially after the semi-final disappointment last year, getting knocked out in all 3 semi-finals, that was a sign of weakness, really. So hopefully we win midweek and we show that we've really got over that and we are serious contenders this year.
Well, we'll change that hopeful to a definite once Reese puts into the group that we are going to win on Tuesday. If you wouldn't mind saying that, Reese, we'd really appreciate it, because we just want to put some bets on. Mark, to see us home, 2-1 victory. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're ticking more and more boxes every week, aren't we? People like to sort of jump on United's back and say they're not creative enough. We're being creative enough. We don't seem to have any mentality when we go behind. We've done that. We don't seem to be able to see off games. We've done that. And let's be honest, Villa are a good team at the moment. And our home form's been pretty poor. So it's all positives for me. And I'm incredibly pleased. It's great to be where we are. I don't want to get carried away. We'll see what happens over the next sort of few weeks and months. The pivotal game against Liverpool, I think that's probably going to be the pivotal match, to be honest. But yeah, I thought we played very well. It was great to see Bailly play so well. We've spoken about getting in a defender to accommodate both Maguire and Lindelof, and I think that if he could stay fit and wasn't such a glass cannon, he would be perfect. So, yeah, good all round really. David De Gea made a couple of good saves. Martial got an ugly goal. We always lambast him for that, and I think that's great to see. Probably a bit of Cavani rubbing off, so that's really good to see. Pogba's been resurgent after the last 3 games. I think for him, really, he's probably had a chat with Ollie. He said, "Look, shut up, get on with it, and we'll give you your move in the summer." Probably. So he's doing very well at the minute. But yeah, really, really pleased. It's great. We've capitalised. We are now joint top. And hopefully we can. Well, hopefully, as someone else has said in the comments, Southampton get a result against Liverpool, and that's all ours for the moment.
Yeah, and that was actually Reece, and Reece predicted that would happen, so it's going to happen. And he also said we'll win 2-1. Bruno late penalty, so guaranteed. Everyone put their fivers on that. Paddy Power will have to shut down by the amount of bet we get in there. But as Mark said, and pretty much all he said just there, like for me, Friday was, I thought, very, very impressive. I thought we should have won by more, but we could have also conceded. But I thought we did defend very well for the most part, especially Bailly right at the end. But Villa never really had a clean-cut chance, aside from whose chance was it? Oh, well, obviously from the goal. But if you look at the other chance they had, they were kind of from awkward positions where they kind of made nothing from nothing. Even John McGinn's one was, Wan-Bissaka fell a little bit asleep, but it was an awkward one. It wasn't like basically an open goal. So I thought we defended a lot better than we got credit for. But also going forward, we were rapid, we were quick from the offset, which we haven't seen enough of this season. We really attacked the game from word go, which was really got me going and was really happy about. The only thing that frustrated me so much was I felt that when Ollie came out, when he told the lads to come out in the second half, I think it was a case of let's counterattack. They're going to have to get the ball. They're going to have to come at us. Let's hit them on the break and get our second goal that way. And let's conserve our energy because we have a game coming up on Tuesday. And then we got very lethargic, and that allowed them to come in and score. Do you ever get that sinking feeling in your stomach when you know a goal is going to come? That happened to me twice in that game. It happened to me when they actually scored, when Wan-Bissaka kept on complaining about the free kick, not moving the 10 yards back. And then I knew that was going to go in. And then when Pogba, well, I know we're going to touch on Pogba now in 2 seconds, but when I was like, he's been amazing all game. I'm so happy. This is exactly what I wanted. Just play it to the corner. Play it to the corner. Don't run into the middle. Play it to the corner, Pogba. Play it, and then he loses the ball or whatever, crosses it, and then they go on the counter. And I was like, they're going to score. They're going to score. But thankfully, Bailly was to the rescue. I know we're all too young for this, thankfully, but it reminded me of anyone older in the chat or any football historians out there will remember John Barnes, the last day of the First Division in 1989, when he ran in instead of going to the corner, and Liverpool were 1-0 up. It's 1-0 down, but they had to lose by 2. He lost the ball, and then Arsenal picked it up, and Michael Thomas scored, and Liverpool lost the league. They might have lost at Arsenal, but at least they lost the fucking league. It was gas. I wasn't live then either, but I heard a lot about it. But that's what it kind of reminded me of. A bit lower stakes, but you know. But anyway, guys, no matter where you're watching, please come over to YouTube to check us out on All For United. We're going to continue on this for another good while. And please make sure to like the video, because we want to get at least 500 likes in this video, or else Ben said he's going to beat me. So yes, Keane, we're going to come to you again. Pogba's influence on the game and his influence over the last couple of weeks has been exceptional. What are your thoughts, Ben?
Well, look, I think since the Leipzig game, Paul Pogba has been one of our standout performers in our squad. I'd like to highlight this, especially with the Aston Villa game. I thought he played very well, not so much even more offensively, but even in a more of a defensive sense. His work rate was exceptional. He was getting up and down the pitch, though he was covering back. It's something that we don't usually associate Paul Pogba with. But his work rate was good, and going forward as well, you've seen this new kind of left side forward, though inverted winger kind of role that he's playing at the moment. Like he can do a job there, and so I'm happy with Paul Pogba's performances. Look, we all know what's going on with his age and stuff like that. Look, we don't really need to talk about that. But look, in terms of his performances since Leipzig, he's been one of our best players. And look, we all know he's probably going to be gone this summer. Fabrizio Romano said that's more or less going to happen. But until then, he's an asset at the club. You have to use him. And if he can keep up the form like this that he's been displaying since Leipzig, then absolutely, look, we've every chance of challenging for trophies on all fronts if him and Bruno Fernandes can continue to play the way they're playing. And look, I'm just overall really happy with performances as of late.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no real denying that whatsoever. It's really wonderful to see. And I think the great thing on that as well is that everyone's kind of accepted that it looks like he's going to go in the summer, but like we don't give a shit as long as he's playing. That's it. Natalie, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, for me, I can't remember which show it was. I think it was just before the West Ham game or something. And I came on here and I said, his agents come out with those comments, and it's not what, match going Reds don't want to hear. I want to be playing somewhere else. I want to be doing this. But since those comments, and I think even before that, it was the Leipzig game when he did come off the bench, and he's just really been world class, the Pogba that we wanted to see. For me, I think it is potentially because he is playing for that move. He's trying to show people, you want to play for me, let's do this, and it's come up in the comments. But for me, if it can get us to the heights that we're at now, maybe even win a title, win a trophy, then fair enough. If he doesn't want to be here, let's get rid. But I think for now, you need to play for the team that's paying your wages, the badge that's on the front of your shirt, and at the minute he's doing that, so you can't really criticise himself as a player for putting in the performances that he's doing.
Yeah, look, that's all we can ask for is a player just playing his best every week, and whether it's for a move or whatever, it's just about getting the best out of the players we have on the pitch and hopefully getting trophies from it. Chuki, for yourself, are you I'm going to say Pogba nice, but that's not even a sentence. That's not even a word I thought it was going to be. Do you like Pogba? Are you happy with how he's playing?
Yeah, I'm happy with the player. I never understood the strain between, especially the fan base and that player. He's not even having his best season. I don't understand when people say he's playing for a move. I don't understand that. Except you're floating somewhere in his head. I don't know exactly how you know what he's playing for. I look at facts. He's playing because he's an employee of the Manchester United Football Club. That's why he's playing. And he's a superb player, which sometimes he has off days. He's inconsistent. Bruno in the squad makes him a better player for us. And, and that's not just Pogba, it's everyone else. So, he might get his move in the summer. He might not, whatever the case might be. I like the statement he came out with and said, hey, instead of, all the blah, 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 watch me play. And I encourage fans to just watch Pogba play and judge him based on what happens on the pitch. Another interesting thing about the fan base is that we broadly confess that we don't like the board, or we don't like Ed Woodward, or we don't like the Glazers. But anytime an agent goes against the club, if this is business. If an agent is speaking, he's speaking to the board and the owners. It's all mind games to get a move or get more money or get contract. That's none of our business, to be fair. It's really not. So for me, the player is fine. Except he comes personally to say something against the club. He wears the red shirt. I support him whether he has a bad game or a good game.
Okay. Sorry, where are you going? There we go. Yeah, interesting shout. Okay. For you, Noah, what are your thoughts on the whole the world of Pogba?
Yeah, so the thing is with Pogba is that it reminds me very much of when Cristiano Ronaldo wanted to go to Real Madrid back in 2008 or 2009, and Alex Ferguson, who came out a couple of years afterwards and said, at that time, he asked Ronaldo, he said, I'll let you go at the end of the season, just give your all week in, week out for the badge, and then I'll let you leave. And the thing with Pogba as well is that I think Solskjaer's probably said that to him recently, and obviously because Raiola's comments have been recent, because whilst he played great against Villa, and I'm all for him playing this well against Villa and other teams, I hope he continues his great form. But it's kind of come out the blue because it's not like this has been like his first or second game this season. He's had plenty of other games, against Leipzig and West Ham and all those other ones. And whilst he has had a couple decent performances, this was outstanding. He was his long passing was looking on point. He was picking up the ball and driving it forward, which some people like to always renown him as Jogba because he doesn't run around a lot, to the likes of Bruno Fernandes and pick up the ball and be creative with it. But I think that's probably down to maybe him wanting the new move, but also I think the position that Solskjaer gave him against Aston Villa, him being in a much more advanced position and having a lot less defensive work, which is something that a lot of us know that Paul Pogba doesn't like to do, is something that I think just looked like a breath of fresh air for him. And he really relished that role. He relished linking up with the forward players like Martial, Bruno, and Marcus Rashford. And I think if Solskjaer is going to keep playing Pogba week in, week out, and he's going to keep playing for Manchester United at least up until the end of the season, then he needs to be in that attacking role. And if Paul Pogba goes, someone who I'd love to see come in and who can play on the left and in that attacking role is probably someone who played for Aston Villa against Manchester United, and that's Jack Grealish, which we might get onto later. But that's my general thoughts on Paul Pogba.
Yeah, that's fair. And Keane actually put into the private chat here, but I'm going to steal it and pretend it was my own thought. That Pogba had COVID at the beginning of the season, and we can't kind of dismiss that as why it took him so long to get going. And that was Keane. Would you mind? I was making a point. My point, Keane, that I might have stolen from someone, but I'm still claiming it as my own. What's some stealing of thoughts between one Irish brother to another? But yeah,
I'll tell you what, mate. You need to be careful because they won't want to come back on again. You bastard.
Oh yeah, we're kind of stuck. Okay, yeah, sorry, Keane. That was Keane's thoughts. I stole all of Keane's thoughts. I'm sorry.
Keane's wonderful. Keane's
for
wonderful.
For me, boys, the thing is for me and the Pogba and the agent, I don't think fans pay a lot of money to go and watch it, and I think obviously whatever the reason why the agent's doing it, okay, whatever, but I just feel like it's a bit disrespectful to match goers, to people watching all around the world, and I think if you just keep your agent in check. I'm not saying, he's not working in the best interests of you, but, think about those fans out there that are idolising him. Little kids idolise Pogba, and he's sort of saying, oh, Man United isn't what it should be. We all know it. Yeah, okay, it's not, we want to be at the top. But for me, saying those things weren't right. His agent does it a lot. It's not right. It's never been right. So that's just why I see why people are upset by it, because they see him as this great guy, and to be disrespectful to the club, I think even though it's his agent, I don't think it's right, personally.
Yeah, you're not the only one who thinks that as well, and that's kind of where a lot of us fall down on him for. There's a lot of people that can't even forgive Rooney for his 2 transfer requests, and he is our all-time top goal scorer. England all-time top goal scorer, scored in Champions League finals for us, scored against the biggest teams in the world for us, and Pogba hasn't done 1% of that, and is getting more respect than what people would say he deserves.
I think that really is the rub. Pogba is one of the most marketable players in the world, and United fans are traditionally sentimental anyway. But Pogba, Salah, Mane, all these players are really good. They'll play for other clubs. It's just period. They're not going to have a Giggs or Scholes type career with the club. The only issue there is once we start doing inside baseball with what the agent said versus what the board is saying, you can see what happened early in the Haaland deal went. That has nothing to do with the player. It's all about that agent. I don't like that agent, but I'm not going to use the hate for the agent and project that onto the player.
No, that's an absolutely fair opinion.
Yeah,
but I think it's just a case of I can completely understand where the two of you are coming from different sides of the same thing. All you want is the best from the player, but the facts are, if he comes out and I guess the way we don't know what the inner workings of the club are, if everything is working harmoniously, which it is doing now. Look, we've dropped 2 points since we lost Arsenal, on 4 points, but 2 draws. So obviously things are going well. Obviously we did get out to the Champions League, but Pogba played very well. So you have to look at it and go, maybe everything is fine. They're dealing it the way it is. It might be how we wanted to be seen. But Mark, I know the comment you're laughing at as well. Does James speak? He does eventually. We'll get to him now. He looks like a little lonely soldier there. Okay, we'll go to James now. James, what are your thoughts?
Well, luckily I've been learning sign language.
Thanks so much, Mark.
First of all, James is a baller. All right, a lovely lad. He takes a lot of information in, and he gives very good information back. So this is your there you go, James. You got the fucking stage, mate. You smash it.
Oh yeah. No pressure then. No pressure. I think my opinion on Pogba at the minute. Listen, he's a professional footballer, and he's not winning trophies here. He's not done for a while, so he's well within his rights to want to move away. The only thing you can really ask him to do is put the effort in while he's here, which, you know, for the last at least month or so, he's been doing tenfold. You know, he's been one of our best players. And, you know, my thoughts, while he's here, in my mind, just ignore the speculation around him and enjoy him playing for the club, because he's made a real difference, especially since that Leipzig game. He's had multiple quality performances, and, you know, I'm just making the most of him while he's here. So I think whether he leaves or not, as long as he's putting in the performances that he is at the minute, I don't think we can really have many complaints. You know, if he carries this on for the rest of the year, we could be champions. Send him off with a Premier League trophy. Everyone's happy, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also a thing to look at too, is there's no saying that he actually will go. I'm not saying that whether he wants to go or whether he doesn't want to go or whatever that is about, but like, we're going into an unprecedented time in human history where we don't know if clubs can afford to buy him. You know, that's also an aspect. Like, there's a genuine thought out there as well that he is just playing his best football because he's been played in his best position, which is further up the field on the left-hand side. And he's getting consistency, and he's over his COVID, and it could be a case of all these sort of things, because we don't know if there's any deals in America, because all we've heard is that he wants to go. But when we look back to Ronaldo, I think Noah said that, I can't remember, that the Real Madrid deal was done 3 years before it was done. Do you know what I mean? But like with Pogba, we don't know if it's PSG, we don't know if it's Juventus, we don't know if it's Real Madrid, we don't know who it is. So because a lot of clubs don't want to deal with Mino Raiola, so it could be a case of he's just playing his best football because he wants to play for us. And Mark makes a great point. His fax machine convinced De Gea to stay. It's a true point. It's a true point. And for that, Mark, take us away. What are your closing remarks on this lesson? Anyone comes in?
Yeah, listen, if it's not about, at some point we're going to have to let go of what's been said, the consistency, his agent. Do you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't give a fuck about it. Do you know what I mean? We need to look at how he's playing now, and he's been very good, and I hope he keeps that up. And if it means that we're going to win games and potentially win finals and potentially stay up where we are now, great. It does frustrate me because we are very quick to dissect something and look at any negative. I've said this before, actually. When you go to a restaurant, okay, and you talk about it with your mates, you're not going to tell them about the good ones. You're going to tell them about the shit ones. Yeah. And too many people do that with football these days. They don't look about what it is they provide and the way that they're playing for the team and whatever. They still want to look back at all the shit negativity that's happened previously. It doesn't matter. You're not going to change any of it. It's a waste of energy. And ultimately, I feel like he's been very good. Probably our best player in the last 4 games. And if he continues to do that, fantastic. If it means that we can get a Carabao Cup or even a title challenge, fantastic. And if he ends up ducking out and going to another club this year, that's fine. We will live on. It's not about Paul Pogba, and we will move on. Do you know what I mean? So as far as I'm concerned, continue playing as you are, and I've got no problems.
Absolutely dead right. Dead right, to be fair. Keane, you have a closing thought there?
Yeah, Joe, it's just something you just said there as well, just with regards to like playing on the left-hand side of an attacking front three. Like, when he was playing at Juventus, that's like in his early first couple of years there, that's somewhere where he predominantly played. Marchisio and Pirlo played behind him, and he played as that inverted left-sided player. And we've seen like the best kind of years of Paul Pogba at Juventus playing. And it's no secret now, since he started playing there in the last kind of 4 games, we're starting to see a lot more attacking, a lot more progressive play. And like the fact that he has like a McTominay and a Fred behind him who are going to do the dirty work behind him, this allows him, not only Pogba but also Bruno, to like forget about the defense, because the two lads behind him are doing so much work as well. So if he can continue playing this role, like we're going to see the best of Paul Pogba. If that means we're going to see the best of him for the final 6 months of the season, so be it. Because if we go on and we win a Carabao Cup, we win an FA Cup, get a good run in Europa League, and make a real stab at the title, what Manchester United fan is going to complain? Because in the last 7 years, we've been calling for consistency and be challenged from all fronts. And this season now is finally looking like that we're actually going to maybe make a stab, all these competitions. So I think as fans, we have to just appreciate the way he's playing at the moment and then hope that he can just continue this level of consistency that he's been showing in the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, no, I to be fair, I despised Pogba. No, despised is too strong a word. I was just felt very let down by Pogba for the longest time. And it's because he was never consistently doing it. And when he was exceptional, but it hurt more when he stopped doing it, because you're like, we know how good you can be. But it was actually something that Phil Brown said. It was actually an episode of The Late Lock-In. Mark, you were on the show as well. And he said that it was about a different subject, but it kind of changed my mind about a lot of things. When we were in for Regulon, and the board were like, no, we're not spending the money so we can sell him on later on. But he made the point of like, who cares? It's the same with Haaland. Oh, we want to maximize how much money we can make if we sell him. But his point was like, who cares? If he comes and wins his title, who gives a fuck if we lose him? He's won his titles. So that's kind of what I'm like with Pogba. If he leaves in the summer, but if we win a league title, then fair play, go on. Thanks, you were an excellent servant. As long as he plays his best football, that's all we can ask for, and that's brilliant. I'll never fully respect him. I think he's a bit thick, but if he wins the title, I couldn't give a flying fuck. I just, it's not like he left, he played 3 times for my country and then left, and then played for a different country, like a certain Declan Rice. Declan Rice. Ireland per week. So as long as he doesn't do that and we never sign Declan Rice, then I'm a happy Joe. I'm a very, very happy Joe. And do you know what made me a very happy Joe as well Friday evening? A certain Ivorian. Yeah, certain Ivorian, Eric Bailly. I don't know if this is the true fact. I think it is. It's his first time he's played 4 games in a row with United since signing, or at least in a couple of years.
I think ever.
Since 2017.
Yeah. Since 2017. So, Keane, we'll go to you first. I was terrified a lot of times because he went down with a couple of head injuries or neck injuries, and I was like, please don't die. Please just stay fit. He's exceptional. But let's just have, I don't think there's anyone that can say any negative here. Let's just have a love in. Well, we'll get to Mark eventually. I'm sure he might have something. But until we get there, let's have as much fun before we get to Mark. Keno, you're up first.
Don't be like that. How dare you?
With Eric Bailly, look, he was absolutely exceptional against Aston Villa. His positioning, for anytime we were caught in the break, was unbelievable. Always there. He was great in the air, and I think he's very underrated in the air. And it's just very refreshing to see someone beside Maguire who can complement his style as well. To see them two at centre back, they actually look like they can develop a real partnership there. And that's not something we've seen in quite some time since Ferdinand and Vidic. We haven't seen 2 centre backs to accommodate each other. The fact that this is the first time he's played 4 games in a row since 2017, and the fact he's got a consistent run in these last couple of games, you've seen his form. This outlines how much we are crying out for him to stay fit. Yeah, I echo your thoughts, Joe. When a couple of times when he went down and Joe, and he jumped into mad tackles all over the place. I'm sitting there thinking I'm covering my face and it's please don't be injured, because he's such a good player, and when he plays, he shows his quality. But look, I'm in absolute agreement. He's exceptional. It's just I think all United fans just kind of have a love affair with Eric Bailly at the moment.
Yeah, and what a love affair it is. Natalie, for you, where were you? I'm trying to remember where were you on the Lindelof Bailly sort of? Who is the partner? Harry Maguire. Was it always? Are you leaning towards Bailly, or was it Lindelof? Or
yeah. I think I'm leaning more back towards Bailly. It was always Lindelof because I think Lindelof is solid. He was there. He's consistent. Bailly would come in for 1 or 2 games. Yeah, he might have good games, but then you would go missing for half a season. And I was sort of not of the camp sell him because I think he is a good defender. I remember when he first came in under Jose, I was like, oh, this guy's class. and then we've never really seen him again. And I sort of didn't want to turn into like a Phil Jones kind of character, like have like good games, and you think, oh, he's great, and then you'd lose him for half the season. So, for me, I was more Lindelof, but since he's come in, you remember in those days back when he was class, back when we used to watch him when he first came in, and he's just a mad guy, and that tackle at the end, that block, it was like world class, and that's where you need to be. That's where you want your defenders to be. So for me, it's more Bailly now. I just, wrap him up in cotton wool. I think when they were all jumping on him at the end, I was like, oh God, he's on the floor. He's all right. Get him in the ice bath, get him wrapped up, make sure he's all right, put a stamp on him, make sure, he's at that next game, next season.
Wrap him in cotton wool.
He's a star for us. So I think, keep going. And I really rate Wan-Bissaka. For me, I was sort of, should we play him? Should we not? And I think I said he should start. There's question marks, but I really rate him as well as a top quality defender.
I was in the exact same state when everyone was hopping on him at the end. I was like, be careful, his history, okay? Like, if you want to jump on Phil Jones instead, we don't care if he gets injured. I'm absolutely blown away. Chuki, for yourself, were you delighted to see Bailly play so well?
Yeah, sure. Love to see Bailly on the field. I've always rated Bailly as, even I believe he's the best center back at the club. He's been so for quite some while. I think Mourinho did a good job scouting him and getting Bailly into the club. I think, unfortunately, Mourinho does not like players that get injured a lot. He doesn't. He has no respect for them. So that was the beginning and end of any kind of real consistent showing from Bailly. Because even when you get back on your feet and you're no longer injured, now your manager can't really trust you to put you into the team because it might get disruptive. I remember, I can't remember this Tottenham Spurs defender who was there for a long. He was a club man. I think Ledley King, right? You're not going to get the kind of Ledley King treatment at United. Bailly can do anything on the field. He can do anything. He's our fastest CB. Ball control, he's great. He can run straight up the field if they let him. He has so much energy. He's a baller. He's a footballer. You can tell he's not a product of an academy. He didn't learn to play football. Football comes naturally in his bones. Another center back I like is actually I forgot his name that quick. He hasn't played for a while. The Argentinian dude. What's his name?
I missed that.
Who's the Argentinian center back we have at the club that hasn't played for a while?
Rojo.
Rojo. Yeah, exactly. Rojo. Rojo is another very skilled center back. He's not as good as a defender as Bailly or Maguire, but he's just as rash as Bailly. So that's what Bailly needs to go work on. He needs to work on his rashness, and I think that's most of his injuries stem from uncontrolled or unplanned movements by Bailly. So he needs to go work on that. But he's a fantastic defender.
Yeah. My favorite Twitter site as of the last 2 weeks is Out of Context Bailly. It's genuinely, if anyone is on Twitter now, stay in this video, look afterwards. But the Out of Context Bailly is just phenomenal. But it also terrifies you because the tackles he goes in for are just absolutely insane. The man has no fear. And it's what we love about him, but it's also what gets us worried. He's always liable for yellow cards or for the odd, but not as many red cards as you think. I think he's only got 1 or 2. But he is very rash, and that's why he gets so many injuries as well. But Noah, where does your heart lie with him?
Yeah, see, the thing is with Eric Bailly for me is that he's very frustrating because whilst we all know the qualities that he does possess, and I do believe he is our best centre-back at the club, the thing is he's our best centre-back at the club when he's fit. And for Manchester United this season, particularly when we're going to try to challenge Liverpool for the title, it's going to be very difficult to have someone like him playing week in, week out and getting that consistency and the consistency you need to win a league title with all the with the injuries that he has. And Bailly, just on the Aston Villa game, was doing everything that we all know he can do. His pace was immaculate, and it complemented Maguire really well. And that's something that we've commented on before that we need if we're going to go get a partner for Maguire is someone with pace. His strength as well to shove off the likes of Ollie Watkins, who we know it can be a real hazard for defenders in the box, was fantastic. His ball control is something that I think is really underrated and something that gets completely looked over. I mean, this man, I remember back in the Chelsea game, I think, during this year when I think we won 2-0, Harry Maguire got a header. He was doing roulettes in the midfield, going past Chelsea's players, and it was just absolutely amazing what he could do, for a centre-back. And he can do everything, as I've said, but it's just... He's just too injury prone for me. And whilst I, like I said, I do think he is our best centre-back, it's just... Are you going to win a league title with that? And I don't think we are, because he can easily go play against Burnley or say Watford or Man City in the cups, and he picks up one of his famous injuries and he's out for another 3 months, and then who do United have really to complement Maguire? You've got Axel Tuanzebe, but in my opinion, I think he's a bit too young and a bit too rash to be relied on to win the league title. So it's one of those really. It's really frustrating because we all know. That he is our best centre back at the club, but can he stay fit? Are we going to have to send him out in bubble wrap every game? Seriously, it's one of my pet peeves.
Could be an option. Could be an option.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't mind
maybe
they haven't tried it, have they?
No. Maybe he could get on that, that bubble football thing, where you got a little big ball around you.
He would be perfect. Zorb football, whatever it is. Yeah. Perfect.
Well, I love. I don't know if anyone picked up on that, but Noah literally just said you can't win anything with kids in a different way.
He did.
Did anyone else pick up on that quote? Anyone else listen to Noah say that?
I'm sure Alan Hansen would have a great conversation with you.
I think he's got the rights to that, so you might have a legal issue there.
Yeah.
But you did bring up a couple of good points, Noah, and it is something I agree with you on. I think Bailly is exceptional, and that's been kind of known for so long, but he's so rash and so injury prone that it's so hard to rely on him. And I'm going to bring up this point later on in a bit about what we need to do to improve, because the whole talk was, do we need to buy a new? How long do we know how long Lindelof is out for?
I don't.
A while.
Actually.
I thought it was the rest of the season, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they put a date on it.
Jamie or Brown Knight will know. They'll be able to correct us.
Yeah, those guys know everything. So if any guys in the comments, if you know anything, please let us know.
I heard it could be for a couple of months because of back injury. You're saying that it could be really bad, but the club have kind of been tight-lipped about it. They'll probably do more. I'd say there's more tests been done, because I'd say they'd want to kind of, suppose, let that out too early. But from what people have been saying, it's going to be for a prolonged period that Lindelof's going to be out for.
That's I think it will be a couple of months at least, because the thing is with Lindelof, he's had shoulder and back injuries in the past, same as Marcus Rashford, and when you get a repeated injury, it's always longer than the last time, and he's had multiple injuries like that. So yeah, I think it could, and that's maybe another reason to go and get a centre back in January.
It's that we kind of Axel is a phenomenal centre half, but the only problem with him and Bailly is that they're both injury prone, and the likelihood is they'll probably both get injured kicking each other. And James, I swear to God, I'm not doing this on purpose, but every time I get to you, I just decide to go on a different tangent and we never actually hear what you say. But James, we won't go into transfers, but if you're we'll touch on that a little bit, of whether we need to strengthen that area. But for you, is Bailly our main man alongside Maguire? Whether you want Maguire to start or not, he is going to start every week. But for you, whether Lindelof is fully fit, would you be looking towards him?
Yeah, listen, the Bailly Lindelof debate is a difficult one, because if you're talking just pure defenders, I think Lindelof is the better player, but I think Bailly is the better partner to Maguire, if that makes sense. Maguire's not going to be dropped for anything. He's the captain. In my opinion, he's our best defender, and we need a consistent sort of personnel in there to keep some consistency within the team, and we've seen that with Maguire. We've not taken him out, and it's kept that consistency through the lineups. When there's been no consistency through the rest of the team, you've got to keep one thing constant. So went on a bit of a tangent there, but anyway, yeah, I think the thing that Bailly does have is the pace and power to complement Maguire, but he doesn't have the footballing intelligence to make it on his own as a solid centre back. I think there's a mistake in him every game. He is far too rash. and it's just not quite all there with him mentally on a football pitch, which is why when he's next to Maguire is much like Lindelof, where he has that footballing ability, he knows where to be and exactly what to do and stuff like that, so he can guide Eric Bailly through the game, and he guide Eric Bailly through the game, tell him where to be, and that's what makes them such a good partnership. So I don't think now that Eric Bailly's back, I don't think a centre back should be top of the priority list, but I do fear that Bailly's going to put a long string of games together through January. We're going to look at that and think, yeah, we don't need a centre back anymore. As soon as that window closes, he'll be injured for the rest of the season. Exactly. It's just something that would happen at United, isn't it? So that's my worry. But yeah, I think if you're looking for just straight up just a partner for Maguire, then you go with Bailly. But I think if Maguire's not involved in the picture, then I'd go with Lindelof. I'd like to see how they work together, though, those two, Bailly and Lindelof. I think that could be an all right option as well.
I think they did for season and we came second. But as someone said here, if, this person always gets injured during the transfer window, but he seemed to be not injured afterwards. So I think Phil Jones is back in. I think that's just the way it's going to go. We've got Duncan Edwards.
I get serious PTSD
No, please no.
Anyone in the Phil Jones camp? Anyone a bit more screen time here? Anyone?
No.
That was over and done with quickly, wasn't it?
That was fairly to the point. But Mark, for yourself, where do you lie?
I think James was absolutely spot on. Bailly is a terrific defender. I think we've always known this. I think his only negative is his injuries. Now, I disagree actually with people that have said his rashness. He is rash, but I think defenders have to be. I think if he wasn't rash, he wouldn't have made that block against Villa the other night. So I think that's a good thing to have. Sometimes, unfortunately, that comes with a risk, and with that risk, you might get sent off. It's not an unknown thing to see centre backs get sent off. So I just think that's just the way it is. Bailly for me is an absolute monster. I really like him, and I think Brown Knight actually was spot on early, and I've said this so many times. So apologies if I'm sounding like a broken record, but Lindelof probably should be back up to Maguire. And the why is because Maguire was 80 million. I think they're both very, very similar players. I think that if you were to bring in a quick centre back that's good at one-on-ones like Bailly, or have Bailly and keep him fit, Lindelof and Maguire wouldn't be spoken about in such a negative way again. I think that too many people look at Maguire and Lindelof for the defenders that they're not. And when I say the defenders that they're not, they aren't quick. They're not going to be so good on one-on-one. They're not going to be good at trying to get back and recover their mistakes. Bailly is. And that's where you get a good defensive partnership, because one will complement the other. So I feel that if we can keep some stability there with Bailly, I think it could be an answer. I mean, it's frustrating because it's come at the wrong time when January's coming up. Would we have got a centre back in? Probably not anyway. But I think with the question you've asked me, Joe, his resurgence and is he a good defender? Yes, I think he's brilliant. I think he is, and he really brings out the best and complements Maguire and Lindelof well. And I think that if he can stay fit, then that would be a very big thing for us in the title challenge.
Yeah, it is a very big if. Unfortunately, I wish that.
Yeah,
that's the problem, isn't it?
But yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sorry to interrupt you, Joe, but that's one thing I was going to comment on just quickly with Bailly.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Like we all know how good Eric Bailly is. But for where we are this season, trying to make a title challenge towards Liverpool, we're going to need particularly two centre backs playing consistently, because when we were challenging for leagues, we had the likes of Vidic and Rio Ferdinand, Jaap Stam, and all those guys in defence playing week in, week out, and you need that consistency. And I'll say it time and time again, I do think Bailly is our best centre back at the club, but that says it all. Where it's the first time he's played 4 games in a row since 2017. That's 3 years. Yeah, and are we going to really have to rely on that for the next 6 months of the season? Like, it's like for me, it's just a big if. And you know, for Solskjaer to be this close, does he want to ruin it by just telling the board that, you know, I'll rely on Bailly? And you know, it could easily happen that, you know, early February he doesn't decide to sign a centre back, and then he gets injured again, and then it's back to square one.
Yeah,
so
that is kind of the problem. We are looking at a player who hasn't played 4 games in a row since 2017, and we're expecting him to play the next 25, including Europe.
Yeah.
No, but that's perfect, Joe. That's perfect for this. In the time of COVID, things will change, and I understand people are still trapped in that traditional thinking. Ollie's never going to play a set 11 during this period. It's just not going to happen, right? He's not going to have a squad that is the first 11. People will always complain that, what's Solskjaer's first 11? It's not going to happen. What he's going to do is what he's been doing. He's going to select a team based on the opposition coming in, and he's going to, you know, pick the best pieces.
You're absolutely right. And you know what? If he was playing the same 11 every week, we'd be moaning about his tactics. So I think you're absolutely spot on, Chicky.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Brown Knight, you were dead right. We should sign Darragh O'Shea in January. I didn't listen to what anyone else said. Darragh O'Shea is the future of centre-backs in world football. By the way, he's Irish. And Stuart, you had a comment up there a little while ago. I'll chat about you a different time, but there's a whole different reason why James McLean is not the same as Declan Rice. But we'll touch on to our final point, and thanks everyone for joining us so far. You've been amazing. The comments, they're going like on fire in here. Please go to YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, please like the video, because if you don't, Ben beats me. So I would prefer if that didn't happen, I guess. So we're looking towards, and from my opinion on Bailly, I think he is an exceptional centre half. I think he is someone I want every day of the week. I fear for injuries. I fear for him getting a yellow card and a red card, but then he's got literally 1 red card, I think. We discussed it earlier on, so he's a lot better than I give him credit for. But it's just about keeping him fit, because that's all I want. I want just Harry Maguire with him, and if he's not available, then Tuanzebe is sensational as well. So I'm happy with who we have left, but we just need to make sure the 2 of them stay fit. So now we touch on the final point, guys, and please, thanks, like I said, thanks so much for being amazing in the comments. You're absolute stars. And please get your thoughts on this final section as well. What do we have to do to win the league? Whether it's go into the transfer market, whether it's to just alter the way we're playing, or whether it's just stay playing the same way we are. What way do we have to go? Akeem, we'll go to you first, as per usual.
Yes, like for me, I think if we sign a centre back, I think that would go a massive way in terms of helping us still sustain a title challenge. I think, look, Eric Bailly is fantastic, and like he's done very well for 4 games. Just the always thing that remains in your back of your mind is his injury record in the last 4 years that he's been at the club. Will that creep back in? We don't know. Lindelof could be out for a period with the back injury. The club haven't fully confirmed how long he's going to be out for. Again, Axel's always picks up little niggles as well. Jones and Rojo, let's not talk about them. So like centre back wise, I think if we went in for a centre back, a top quality centre half in January, that'd be good. And also, just as Reece said there, look, my man Bruno Fernandes, people have seen all my stuff on social media the last couple of days. I've riled up a couple of other rival fan bases with that man. But if we can keep Bruno Fernandes fit for the rest of the season, we win the league, because he'll score above 400 penalties.
As long as we get penalties in every game, which we apparently
don't jinx it. Don't jinx it, Keen. Come on, like, let's stay a little bit humble and try. Yeah, I hope you've
don't
not
be
just
humble. Don't listen to Mark. Make fun. Bander the shit out of them. Okay, this will not come back to haunt us. You will not have to clip this video. Everything will work out perfect. I completely agree with Mark. I am not saying anything on Twitter. I've retweeted a few bits other than that of just people being like sensationalist idiots or just being ridiculous. But mostly they're Liverpool fans. But I am saying nothing. I'm doing my best not to jinx anything. Everything is crossed. Natalie, for you, how do we improve on an already perfect team, as we've already discussed?
Yeah, for me, I think definitely keep the mentality going. That's, I think, is the most important part. I think no matter who's playing, if you have that winning mentality, that togetherness, that feeling, I think that is almost as good as a signing in a way, because I think when your team's so together and united and they want to do everything for each other, you can get those extra few points. For me, though, if you were going to say dip into the market, see what's available, I think definitely a centre-back. I don't know who's available. I don't know who would come in January. But I mean, it was sort of said about Rojo and him being light. For me, I would look to maybe offload Jones and Rojo and then get someone else in. Just because I think they're not good enough. We can do so much better. And I think if there is a top quality centre back available, I'd look to maybe get rid of a few of them wages and then bring in a top quality one. But it's not always the case. Sometimes you can bring someone in and they don't do as well at the start. But if I was going to improve anywhere, it'd be that. But I think the mentality, the way that we feel about this team, the way that the team is working for Ole, I think that needs to stay and that needs to keep growing.
Yeah, I think there's no denying that whatsoever. Chuki, for yourself?
Yeah, for me, I have a few golden rules when it comes to the game. One is you don't substitute a player during a corner, and the second one is you don't buy a center back, in the middle of the season. That back line is very, very. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of responsibility there, and I wouldn't want to disrupt that. I think you make do with all. The first mistake was not having one to begin with. Once you sold Smalling to Roma, you should have got one in. But since you've made that decision, you just kind of stick with it and let the do center back by committee. Whether that's Tuanzebe or Bailly and Lindelof and Maguire, that's enough four, and you rotate and you give Bailly and Tuanzebe games so they can strengthen, right? So you can see what's all about, because everyone, Napoli and the rest of everyone made perfect observation what's needed to win a league. I don't know if it's going to be this season, but a league is mentality, and from mentality on the player side, the direct opposite needed from the other side, from Ollie's side, is ruthlessness. He needs to be ruthless. If Bailly is not going to be if he's going to be the Ledley King kind of player, then you ship him off. If Tuanzebe can't, you ship him off. So you test them right now, give them games, give them runs of games, so you have a good rotation going. Mengi, the lad from the under-23s, you put him, send him on loan and make sure the pipeline is fresh. So that, for me, we need a right wing. We need a strong defensive midfielder so we can save space and not employ the pivot all the time. And the pivot, by the way, has Maguire. Someone says Maguire is the best center back. I totally disagree. The pivot has Maguire's name all around it. Everything happening in the back is to protect Maguire. That's how much of a liability his pace is. He's a good defender as well. Even positionally, he has problems too. So. We have quite a ways to go to be ruthless and keep consistency and mentality to win a league.
Okay, that's fair. And I really don't want us to get rid of Mengi because I have him in my fantasy football. He's gotten me 0 points so far. He's on the bench, but it's gonna come good. He's gonna come good.
You take him out then, isn't it?
No. The one time I take him out, that's when he's gonna come in and
score 5 goals.
Yeah. Natalie, do you want to make a point there? Or
just about the centre back thing. I'm going to agree to disagree. I think Vidic came in January. I mean, someone's just said about the Scouse one who came in January. I think we all know VVD, but I definitely think Mengi should be. If we're struggling, if he doesn't buy, then definitely promote Mengi. I just want to see him, even if it's just for an FA Cup or something. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, well, the FA Cup's coming up around the corner.
Am I misremembering? Did Vidic perform right? Did he hit the ground running?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
It took him about 3 months, and everyone was absolutely on his back, saying that he was an awful signing. And then all of a sudden, he came good and was phenomenal, as we all know.
I mean, he's Vidic is a legend. So Everton had the same issue as well coming in. So defenders are kind of tricky. Middle of the season, especially when you have,
I think maybe the difference was that he wasn't compared to Duncan Edwards, and that's why he came good. But who knows?
Maybe. We'll never truly know. But Noah, for you, when we definitely win the league, what will it come down to?
Well, for me, there's four things I'd like to see happen between in January. Two are regarding like signings, and two are regarding just things that are going to happen anyway. So the two signings or positions I'd like to see United go for. One is a centre back because I've said it earlier in the show. Whilst I do think Bailly and Maguire is the perfect partnership, Bailly and Tuanzebe, both of them are too inconsistent and too injured. Too inconsistent with playing game time and too consistent with getting injured. So I think we need to find someone like them who doesn't have their injury problems. I mean, I've said Deo Upamecano from IB Leipzig. Some people will say we won't be able to get him in January, but I mean, Liverpool got Virgil van Dijk in January. If you have the money and you have the desire to sign someone, you can get them. So for me, I'd like to see someone like Deo Upamecano come in. I'd also like to see some competition come in for Wan-Bissaka. Because I think whilst he performed well against Aston Villa on Friday, I think that was probably his only real good performance of the season so far. And because the thing is with Wan-Bissaka for me is that he knows that even if he has a poor performance, he's still going to get in the team next week because there's no one to compete with him. There's Tuanzebe at right back, Lindelof at right back, Brandon Williams, and Ethan Laird. Like it's no real quality there.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see probably someone like Max Aarons or Derek Lamptey come in as well. And then for the two non-signings, I'd like to see Bruno be rested in more games, and I'd like to see Donny van de Beek be started more because I feel like there's such a hidden gem there with Donny van de Beek, and I feel like if he does get more game time, he'll be able to show his true qualities that we all know he does have, and why we signed him for 40 million. And I think if he does get more game time and he does start to build some confidence up, then he could be a massive game changer going into the final months of the season. And then another thing would be to sort out the right wing issue that we have, because obviously we have been playing Mason Greenwood there the past couple games, but we all know he's not a natural right winger, and I think whether Ollie wants to sign someone, which I don't think is likely, or whether he wants to use Amad Diallo or promote Facundo Pellistri, who's been playing excellent for the Manchester United Academy. I think that would be one thing I'd like to see Solskjaer do. So sort out the right wing issue that we have, like get a natural right winger playing there. Some competition for Wan-Bissaka, a proper centre back that is fit and has the same qualities as Bailly, and give Bruno Fernandes a bit more rest because God forbid if he gets injured. I mean, our title challenge to me is over if he gets injured. So that's one thing I'd like to. That's four things I'd like to see.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that, and I can't see any reason why over the next couple of games why Donny can't play instead of Bruno. Even though he is my captain in my fantasy football, mention that again. I think we can drop Bruno against Watford. Obviously, we can drop Bruno.
Watford.
I think so. Even though one's away. James, for yourself, when the title charge finishes and we win the league by 24 points, what will it have come down to?
I think I'll echo a lot of what Noah was just saying. I think the right back issue, while I don't think he's played as bad as Noah's made out, I do think Wan-Bissaka's had quite a few good games this season. I do think recalling Dalot realistically is our best bet of getting the best out of him because he's performing well in Europe. Dalot, I know he's not playing much continentally, but he's performing in the Europa League, and I think he offers that competition because there's a reason we signed him. He's a good player. He's just not got many opportunities, so he's not been able to build that consistency. But I don't see any signings coming in, so it's what he does with the rest of the team. I think Van der Beek is, like Noah said, is crucial that we start playing him more because we've not seen anywhere near enough of him. I think there's obviously something going on behind the scenes that will make sense when it comes to fruition, but right now it's very frustrating to see a player of that quality not getting any game time at all. I think you got to use him more. I think you use him in an attacking role to give Bruno that rest because. Yeah, Bruno gets injured, then that's title challenge over. We might scrape top 4 without Bruno, but that's as good as it'll get. And then just keep the consistency more than anything because we've finally got a bit of consistency this season. If that suddenly goes, one bad result, don't let it get to your heads. Just keep moving forward. That's something we've struggled with as well. And play the youngsters in Europe. I don't think we really need to focus on the Europa League, so make sure the players are rested from that. And then we've really got to hope that Liverpool mess up along the way. I think 3 points at Anfield, if we want to win the league, are crucial. That's the only time I've really seen Liverpool realistically slipping up. Obviously, they will slip up elsewhere, but we can't leave it to them. We have got to beat them at Anfield. So, yeah, I think that's very important as well. So it'll be a combination of a lot of things. But I don't want to sound pessimistic, but I'm not expecting us to win the league in any way. We're still huge underdogs here.
But the underdog always wins the race. That's what I got from that, James. We're definitely win the title. Mark, for yourself, I've been actually meaning to ask you, how much of you kind of come up across a few guys talking Diallo. First of all, I'm kind of confused. Have we actually signed him, or is like the signing happening when he comes next week?
He's on the plane and he's sorting out his medicals now.
Yeah,
he'll be there.
We bought him. We agreed in the summer. He was going to stay with them until January, and he, as Noah said, he's on the plane. They tried to keep him until the end of June, I think.
Yeah.
And that's what the stick up was over the last couple of days. But I think United have held firm, fair play to them, and said, no, we need him, and he's coming on Monday. So that's what I know. Right, listen, I'm going to go against the grain a little bit here. I disagree with a number of things. Now, first of all, I don't think a centre-back is our main priority. We've got 4 or 5 centre-backs. Appreciate some are injury-prone, some are, not always brilliant or whatever. But if we would continually say that every time someone gets injured, we'd buy another centre-back, and then we'd end up with 10, yeah? Our big problem is a central defensive midfielder. We need a CDM that's going to cover those two. Yeah. The defensive partnership doesn't do it all. Matic, whenever he plays, I've said this, I've spoken about this with James so many times actually, and he'll know what I mean. But Matic, I know he's not played much this season, but he's such a key player. If we had him 5 years younger, it would shore up the defence. We'd concede less. It would mean that we could play further forward, progressive football. We could then play fucking Bruno and Pogba further forward, and Van der Beek would get more opportunities. At the moment, we're playing one number 10, and you can't take Bruno out of the team. So, no defenders for me. Defensive midfielder, and by the looks of it, we might be getting Moises Caicedo, whatever his name is. Looks good. I've not seen enough of him, and hopefully he'll be what we need in a few years' time. We'll have to see. But to be honest with you, listen, I'm like every other United fan. I will be very disappointed if we don't bring anyone in January, and I want them to buy more players. But if I'm honest, 2 reasons. Firstly, I feel that our squad is better than what everyone gives credit for. Okay, now I agree with James. I think we are very much underdogs, and I think we are very fortunate to be in this position. I can't see Manchester United making any signings. It was only a number of weeks ago where everyone's been complaining. Real Madrid and Barcelona had no money in the summer. COVID's hit everybody. United are trying to make revenue from getting fans back in the stadium. There's no money. No one's got. You know what I mean? United are a business like every other club, and I can totally understand if the Glazers go, no, we're not making any money. COVID has hit us. We need to try and get some revenue from games first before we do that. I totally understand that. And if they don't bring anyone in, I do not blame them. And trust me, I am a fan that gets frustrated when we don't get the players that we want. But I feel that we've probably, as Reece said, absolutely right. If Bruno stays fit, everyone keeps pushing. Everyone has that competition and really pushes for the team. I think that's all we need. Honestly, I genuinely mean that. I think that's all we need. And I think we're massive underdogs anyway. I think that, it could be a couple of weeks' time. We have a poor couple of results because it happens. Man United do this. We'll then be saying, we're nowhere near it now. We're 6 points behind, whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? So let's just appreciate the position we're in. Not take it for granted. We might get 1 or 2 players in, but it's not going to be anyone extravagant. And I feel that we probably have got the squad for it, and keep Bruno fit.
Keep Bruno fit. I think that should be our prayer every single night. Wait, who's? Oh, there's Natalie. Sorry, she put that in. She's back.
There she is.
I was just thinking we lost something there. It was we're just going to go into our final thoughts, final comments before we sign out for the night, guys. Thanks so much for joining us throughout the last hour or so. Keep your thoughts coming in the comments. If you have any questions or anything before we finish up for any of the guys, please put them in. Chuki, for yourself, what have you got for us?
I think the romance of getting 21 is high in the atmosphere for most United fans. And I don't subscribe to the fact that we're joint top. I think we have the joint most points in the league, or second if the league finished today. Wouldn't there's something called goal difference. But what I really think the squad needs to do, all it needs to do is what I said the last time when we were doing one of the pre-match previews, is that he needs to do what he's been doing and just manage the team for long-term success. To be enticed by this, by the number of points we have right now, it would be the same thing, the same kind of trouble we ran into in the Champions League, where we played really good and we were looking sensational. We're topping a league with a finalist and semi-finalist in the same group, and at the end of the day, we went flat. So he needs to manage the personnel and resources he had to get a trophy. It doesn't have to be the EPL. It could be any trophy. We have 4 on deck. Get one. You get that one trophy. That one trophy is now the catalyst for this mentality monsters we want them to be. Because it's no longer about belief. It's that we know we can do it. We know this unit can do it. Let's go do more. We just need a trophy. We need to sink our teeth in one trophy this season.
Yeah.
That's my whole point.
Yeah, I'm dying for a trophy. I just want, no matter what happens with Ollie, hopefully he's here for 40 years and wins every trophy imaginable, but I just want one trophy. Noah, you've was it you that put in the you have a chat?
Yeah. But you are. I mean, I did say 4 things originally, but I would like to see an extra thing, so make that 5. It's not as important as the other 4, but some outgoings as well. To get to reduce that wage, to reduce that wage bill. I'd love to see some of the likes of Marcus Rojo, Phil Jones, potentially Jesse Lingard, Sergio Romero, and possibly a few others go as well, because I think if United were to get those players sold, whether that be for fees or just on free transfers in the next 2-3 weeks, they could maybe as we saw in the summer, they made some very late deals, and I feel like if they generated some funds or got rid of some of the costs from the wages of some of these players, because we mustn't forget the likes of Jones and Rojo on 80 to 100 grand a week, and that takes up hefty costs, especially during these times, as Mark pointed out, because of the COVID-19 pandemic and how it's affected football's finances. So I think that would be a big thing as well. Because I mean, I'd love to sign a defensive midfielder on top of a centre back and a right back. It's just with COVID, I don't think they'll be able to get 3. I think 2 signings is probably more realistic. But if they were able to free up some finances from selling those kind of players, then I'd be all for it. And I think it should definitely look at doing that in January.
I think that's a problem as well, though. I think because of the current climate we're in, we're not going to be able to get rid of players either. And I think that you're absolutely spot on. Actually, I didn't even think of that. But we talk about getting players in all the time, filling these holes. But I think it's we need to get rid of players. We need to get rid of some players, and the squad's always about rotation and people to fill those roles when we have injuries, and this is why I feel that if Ollie is fed up of either Harry or Lindelof, you sell him and then you replace him with someone. This is why I said earlier, I don't think a centre back is our big thing at the moment. We've got 3 or 4 to be able to do that role, and if someone gets injured, okay, you got another one, and they should all be able to step up to the plate and come in. But I don't think we're going to get rid of anybody either. I just don't think, unless we cut contracts and pay them off, I don't think Rojo or Phil Jones are going anywhere. So we'll have to see on that. And again, with the right wing position, I think that is one of our fundamental things. I think that people that jump on Jadon Sancho and his form at the moment are just nuts, because he's had his head turned. He was ready to come to United, and he's probably playing shit because he didn't get his move. But I do think that we should go for him again. I think he would be, and I said this all summer, he would be the perfect right wing position. We wouldn't have to use square pegs in round holes and put Greenwood there. And then we still have to be careful then, because it will stagnate Palestri and Diallo. So I don't think there's going to be too many. And I don't think there's going to be too many outgoings either. And I think that our squad is good enough to be there or thereabouts. Look, before the season started and after the first few weeks, we were saying, are we even going to get top 4? This is what we should... Yeah? So now we're in second, yeah? And let's not put rose-tinted glasses on. We're in second. We're not joint top. Let's just try and capitalise on that. Let's just appreciate that we're there, and hopefully by the end of the season we'll still get second, maybe first, top 4 definitely. Yeah, that's the way I see it.
Yep, that's more than fair. Any more closing points? Ready to go?
I mean, I'm
perfect. Before we go, people have been saying in the comments, and from me and everyone here, Natalie, it was your birthday, I think yesterday or the day before. Happy 21 again.
January the 1st was my birthday.
January 1st.
Happy belated birthday, Natalie.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Natalie. Happy birthday to you.
Who did we do this for the other day, Joe?
I can't remember because
I'm a bit concerned now that this is going to become a staple of yours.
Genuinely is. Don't feel too special, Natalie. I do this. It's more so to upset Mark.
All right.
No, honestly, no. Please don't take it away and open that we weren't wishing you happy birthday. Honestly, happy birthday, Natalie, for January. Happy belated birthday.
Happy birthday.
But just don't encourage Joe to sing is my point.
I'll do it again. It's James's birthday. What's the your birthday, James? I did it for
No, honestly, you don't need to sing.
Yes, well done, James.
Brilliant. Okay, guys, this has been Water Red. Thank you so much for joining. I will be back tomorrow to preview the City game, and then we'll be doing the extra City game on Wednesday, and we have a full week of everything. So please, wherever you're watching, come subscribe to the channel, like the channel. Please find everyone that was here tonight. We'll be tweeting about it again to make sure to follow them. They're a bunch of legends. Please do so. They took out the time. Please message Natalie a happy birthday, and just be like Reece.
But don't sing to her.
Don't. That's my gig. Okay, don't take my gig. And as Jacob said, happy birthday, everyone. Quality night. Thanks so much, guys. That's us done. Go over to the YouTube. Please give the YouTube video a like. You're a bunch of legends, and we will see you next time. Cheers. Bye.